Vitrius, the astronomer, introduces to Chandler and the Regent a young woman named Mira, who is to be used to learn Chandler's plans and defeat them. She pretends to ask Chandler's help in finding an ancient family parchment, supposed to be hidden in a ruined jungle temple. He agrees to help her. The present act opens in Chandler's study the following afternoon. The Magician.
And as you suggested, Mr. Chandler, I told Vitrius I'd been invited here to tea. Here are the plans of the ruined temple.
Island Road. They must be very old. They're drawn on parchment.
Oh, yes. No one knows when they were drawn or who drew them.
Where did you get them?
They've always been among... I'll show you a little more about the temple. You see, the altar is here.
Well, what are these lines on each side of the altar?
Oh, those are the pedestals on which the gods once stood.
What sort of gods were they? Do you happen to know?
Well, yes. There were two enormous seated figures. One with his hands outstretched holding a bowl. The other... Well, I can't remember what the other one was.
The figures are not there now.
Oh, no, they're no longer there. There's a legend that for thousands of years a strange green light burned on the altar, and it was supposed to burn forever. There were certain priests whose duty it was to see that it was kept alight.
What?
Oh, Mr. Chandler.
Go on, won't you?
Well, the tribal legend goes that one night an unbeliever made his way into the temple and extinguished the light, and that at once the gods became so angry they destroyed the temple.
It is a strange coincidence that you should tell me that, Mira.
Why?
I've heard this story before, but in a place far from Java.
Well, how interesting. Where was it?
Oh, it isn't important. Let's talk of it later, shall we? I don't want to keep you so long that Vitrius will become suspicious.
You're very kind to take your time to help me, Mr. Chandler.
I'm glad to do whatever I can.
Is it true you've learned many of the secrets of the East?
Did Vitrius tell you that?
Vitrius? Oh, no. No, By the way, may I tell you something about Jeffrey Marshall in confidence, Mr. Chandler?
Certainly.
He's supposed to be writing a book on Java. But the truth is, he's had some sort of mental shock, and his people in England sent him to Java for a long rest.
Did Mr. Marshall tell you this himself?
No. Vitrius told me.
Oh, yes. The night Vitrius gave the dinner for Naji, he said Mr. Marshall was not well enough to dine with us.
Peter's Naji is a fascinating woman, isn't she? I suppose it's partly because there's an air of mystery about her.
An air of mystery about Naji?
Yes. There is something mysterious about her. Something that doesn't seem quite to belong to this world. Sometimes when conversation is going on all about her, she seems to be 1,000 years away.
It's strange you should say Naji seems a little unearthly, because that's precisely the impression you give.
I?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I think I must go now.
Perhaps it would be as well. I'll study this plan of the temple later and speak with you again about it.
Mr. Chandler, there's something I'd like to ask you.
What is it, Mira?
I'm wondering if... Do you really trust me?
Of course I do. Why should you ask me that?
Well, I mean, I know you must have many experiences with plots and perhaps quite unconsciously suspect everyone.
No. But I must have time to go over the plan and decide how to proceed. You can see that.
Oh, of course I can. I'm awfully sorry. And I'll go now, so I needn't interrupt your work any longer. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Highness. I'm just leaving. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mira. Chandu, may I come in for a moment?
Of course, Nazi. Come in. Did you manage to decipher the parchment we found on the island?
No, Chandu. I have studied it ever since you brought it to me. But there was nothing to give me the key to the writing.
Isn't it maddening? I feel the whole secret's within our grasp. And still because we can't read this parchment, we're completely baffled.
But if these symbols are so difficult, Chandu, it must be that somewhere there is a key.
I know that. And only a few moments ago, I came to this conclusion. We know there's something hidden in the wine cellar of your palace in Cairo.
Yes. Do you think that is the key?
It may be. Or it may be the other half of this parchment.
You're right. But if it is, we are still without the key.
I wonder if we are. I've just learned that in a certain ruined temple here in Java, a parchment has long been hidden. Suppose that were the key.
But if it is, how will you find it?
I think I have a means of finding it.
I have sent a code message asking Abu to have the cellars of the palace searched.
I hope we can find the hiding place.
Abu will find it. He must pull the palace to the ground. As soon as he has found the parchment, he will send me a message, and we will know what we must do.
Yes. But you're not going already.
Dorothy has something to say to me, Chandu. I told her I would not be long.
I'll see you at dinner then.
Yes. Dorothy.
Here I am now. I want to talk to you before Bobby and Betty come down.
Shall we go into the garden?
No. I'm afraid someone will hear us. Let's sit here, shall we?
What is troubling you?
Nazi, I want to do something to help Frank.
But you are helping him by simply remaining in Java, Dorothy. He has spoken of it to me more than once.
That's nothing. And he's done everything for us.
Dorothy, you are not proposing to speak to Vitrius.
But I think I know a way. Vitrius is always urging me to become a sort of an assistant to him in his work in the observatory.
But, Dorothy...
I'm going to try it. Suppose I could learn that Vitrius had some sort of occult powers that he was using against Frank. Oh, don't you see how important it would be for Frank to know that?
Yes, Dorothy, but you must not. We know Vitrius has certain powers, whether they are only hypnotic or whether they extend far deeper into the unknown. It is not for us to question, especially for you. Oh, if you should fall under the spell of Vitrius, I should never forgive myself.
But I won't. There's no reason why I should, and it may be possible for me to learn, any number of things. And there's no reason why I should waste time trying to cast a spell over me.
Oh, do not make light of his powers, Dorothy. You do not know what forces you may be invoking when you defy Vitrius.
Oh, I'm sure he won't harm me. And anyway, if I can learn something that can help Frank, well, I'm not going to be afraid to try. I'm going over there now.
Must you go at once?
Of course I must. I'll just run over as if I'd become bored and decided to avail myself of his offer.
I will be thinking of you, Dorothy.
Don't take it so seriously, Naji. My dear, what could happen?
Many things of which you can know nothing.
The children should be back in a little while. Tell them where I've gone, will you? Now, don't worry about me. And I thought if you still wanted me to help you, Vitrius, I'd be glad to try.
I shall be most happy to have you assist me, Mrs. Regent. You are so strangely sensitive to occult forces that I am sure we shall accomplish many things.
To occult forces? You mean you have occult powers yourself? Oh, I see. That must be why you understand the laws of ancient Lemuria as you do.
Mrs. Regent, may I ask you a question?
Why, certainly.
Then, do you really believe the story of Lemuria?
Yes. I've never known much about it, but there's no reason why I shouldn't believe it. You aren't trying to tell me it isn't true.
No, indeed. I ask you only that I may know how we can begin the things we are to do together. Would you be willing to look again at the books?
You mean those great books of drawings of Lemuria?
Yes. Would you?
Why, yes. Yes, I'd be willing to look at them again. Sorry I was so stupid as to be frightened at the pictures you showed us the other night.
Would you like to look at them now, or shall we make an appointment for another day?
Oh, no. Let's look at them now, shall we?
You are quite sure that you will be free from interruption by your family for some time?
Oh, yes.
Very well, then. I'm glad we may begin at once. Will you come over here to this table?
Of course.
I can trust your discretion, I am sure.
You mean I'm not to speak of this to anyone?
If you will be so kind.
I see.
First, may I tell you that Mr. Marshall, whom you know only as the writer of a book on Java, is included in the list of Lemurians who now live upon this earth.
Is he?
Yes. You were on the yacht Polana when the young man whose first name was Andra died, I believe, Mrs. Regent.
Oh, yes, we were. But I don't... I mean, surely you're not suggesting...
I see you have already grasped my meaning. Marshall has been selected to prevent having to wait for a man in the next generation to take his place.
But do you choose people against their will?
Why should the human will deflect the operation of the law?
But what if Naji should die?
Then someone else must be found in whose body the soul of Naji could take its place.
Oh. Listen, Lisa. When we were on the island of Lura, we went into a cave which was the temple of a strange pagan sect. Before the altar, the body of a girl was lying. She was dressed in the dress of ancient Egypt, but her face was the face of Naji.
Yes.
Was that girl really a former incarnation of Naji?
My dear Mrs. Regent, these are the things you cannot understand as yet. You must learn more of Lemuria and its history and its teaching.
Then...
All these things are woven into a great pattern which someday you yourself will be able to discern. Let me show you this book. You know the significance of the Seal of Solomon?
Oh, no. Only the few things my brother has told me.
It has far-reaching meanings that no one man can grasp. Do you understand, Mrs. Regent?
No, I don't. I'm afraid...
You are afraid, but you must not fear. Look. Look at the picture.
It is Naji.
Seated on Lemuria's golden throne with the symbol of eternal life beside her upon the golden scepter.
Oh, but how evil it seems. Vitrius, what is that awful thing?
Look at the picture, Mrs. Regent. Look. And know there is no one but you who can save your brother. Chandu must not interfere with the law of Lemuria. Look.